Story 1. As a software engineer working for a systems integrator, the sales pipeline shriveled significantly. There are no redundancies, but vacancies are not being filled, resulting in a lower headcount than necessary to complete current projects. My team has decreased from 9 a year and a half ago to 3, and we have a skills shortage. Projects are not necessarily over budget, but are definitely running late. Story 2. They are about to open a $6 billion Gordie Howe bridge near my house, which was designed based on increased cross-border traffic. After all the annexation threats, the current bridge and tunnel have more than enough capacity to handle the current traffic. Story 3. The ongoing situation is already starting to hurt, though some of my coworkers who supported former President Donald Trump are still in denial. I see the writing on the wall, so I am upgrading and renewing my electrical license to make it easier to find a job elsewhere. My coworkers who do not have a license are about to be severely impacted. I tried to warn them. Remember the Inflation Reduction Act President Joe Biden signed? It gave homeowners a tax reduction if they install solar panels. This made it much easier to find solar jobs because it provided people with a larger incentive to adopt solar energy. It also simplified the bureaucratic process. I remember how difficult it was to find solar jobs before that act passed, and our company nearly went under. That act saved our business back then, but many workers did not even realize it. That bill just removed those incentives. Not only did it remove those benefits from sales, but some companies like SolarEdge received funding directly due to the Inflation Reduction Act. When there is a system that requires troubleshooting, my job is to fix the hardware, but sometimes I have to call a programmer from SolarEdge for software issues. I used to be able to get a technician on the line instantly. Now, they are understaffed due to mass layoffs, so it can take hours to get a hold of one. Sometimes I do not have time to wait, so I take pictures of everything and request a callback. This is creating a chain reaction of inefficiency. They cannot do their job, which makes my job harder, and so on. What will really hurt is if Donald Trump decides not to run for president again and imposes a 50% tariff on copper starting August 1st. I am hoping that does not happen. Guess what is made of copper? Wire. That will hurt not just solar, but all electrical work. Prices for electrical conduit are already rising significantly. I swear it almost feels like Donald Trump is targeting me specifically. My fallback job was going to be a union job, but that bill is bad for unions, too. I used to work commercial jobs. I never liked it as much as solar, not by a long shot. But I can feel that bill trying to force me back into commercial work. It is upsetting. Story 4. I work in a hotel, and our business is significantly down. Last I heard, we have lost almost $1 million in revenue this year due to canceled business travel. The phrase I keep hearing is, due to an uncertain economy. We are not seeing many locals come in either. People are not drinking or dining out as much. Across the board, the mood is low. My city feels like the overall vibe is just downcast. No one seems happy. I am hoping we return to a period of celebrating. Not just birthdays, weddings, and anniversaries, but also promotions, achievements, and small joys. Story 5. I have a friend who leads a research team at one of the top universities on the West Coast. He is considering retiring after losing half of his researchers and multiple sponsors withdrawing support. Story 6. I am in the pharmaceutical industry. It is terrible, with layoffs every day and hardly any jobs available. My company just let go of an entire department last week. Story 7. High-end residential construction. Business is fine, but immigration and customs enforcement deportations are very troubling. I am white but have been told to keep my identification on me at all times by my boss. I had Hispanic coworkers who were totally cool but just disappeared due to government actions. Story 8. I am a warehouse supervisor with United Parcel Service, storing and shipping goods and items that are for commercial use mainly, domestically, and internationally. Our orders at my particular warehouse have dropped by about half, maybe a bit more. I have had to lay off about the same percentage of my staff because of it. The impact this current administration is pursuing is significant. Story 9. I work a job that is loosely tied to manufacturing and construction. We are safe for the moment, but I do not know how long that will last. There have been many layoffs in this region. Story 10. I live in a European tourist destination and there are visibly fewer Americans, approximately 35% fewer. A weak dollar and perceived fear are bringing the United States to lockdown levels. Story 11. Not a part of those industries, but the interior design industry is struggling due to tariffs. Some people were laid off from my work today. As we already know, tariffs impact small businesses as well. The former president is reckless. He enjoys playing power games with other countries and does not care how it negatively impacts United States citizens. The economy is being damaged for his ego. Story 12. I was laid off at the beginning of a shift because the company had lost so much in sales in 2025. I had managed the restaurant for almost a year and a half. The company closed a sister location a few weeks later with a day's notice. So yes, I am tired of winning. Story 13. I am not American but Canadian. Where I work, we are noticing more people from outside our province coming to visit where I live. I think it is a wonderful show of country solidarity. Story 14. Airline industry on the U.S. West Coast. Currently, Transportation Security Administration passenger volumes are not noticeably different than last year. Airplanes, airports, lounges, and airport hotels appear to be just as packed as every other summer season since the coronavirus pandemic. I suspect this is due to summer vacations often being booked and planned in advance when people had more confidence in the economy and the US dollar. Note that this is just based on my observations. Story 15. We are going to 10-hour days, 7 days a week to combat production loss due to ICE and loss of immigrant workers. I work in food processing with chicken. This starts Monday for us. They say it is temporary. I do not believe them. Story 16. Manufacturing. Cold contact potential sales inquiries have plummeted. I run a solo fabrication outfit. Most of the material costs are about the same, but I had previously focused on domestic sourcing where possible. The overall vibe from customers is either silence or extreme skepticism because they are afraid of buying anything that they cannot eat or use for shelter. I am coping by moonlighting in other industries with my same skill set. Thankfully, I have 3 long-term good clients, and one of them is explicitly anti-fascist. He and I really get along. If their work dried up, I would probably be in trouble. I still might be. I had one customer give me both barrels of a rant about Donald Trump. I cannot stand him. I could not since I was a boy because I grew up with a person who used nothing but dehumanizing speech. Story 17. Construction seems like many projects were put on hold after the tariff announcements, but then everything started back up in June and is as busy as it has been the last few years. People delayed due to uncertainty, but many projects are already budgeted and cannot be postponed indefinitely. Most of the work is in data centers, energy, or semiconductor-related fields, which keeps us busy. Tariffs are influencing pricing. Story 18. I work in entertainment and amusement. Total tourism is up compared to last year, driven by increased domestic tourism. International tourists, including those from Canada, are down. Story 19. I'm in Australia. I worked in hospitality in a tourist area for 20 years. Normally, we see a lot more visitors from the United States this time of year, but I only served 3 today. Tourism is doing pretty well. However, it's everyone except visitors from the United States coming to visit. I served a group from Nepal today. It is surprising to think I served more people from Nepal than from the United States today. Story 20. A friend of mine works in the emergency room at the local hospital and says they have been significantly less busy. It is not that fewer people need healthcare, but fewer people can afford it. Story 21. Building products and construction are performing well. Sales are flat year over year. The average selling price is higher due to inflation and rising material costs. These factors are not deterring contractors and homeowners from buying. Story 22. My company has some products that are manufactured in North Carolina. 2 of the facilities we buy from have raised their prices on various products by approximately 25%. Their reason was stated as increased cost of materials, goods, and services. It should be noted they also had a 2-week delay in their recent shipments to us. However, we have relationships there and found out the services part was due to arrests and undocumented workers not showing up, and the cost of hiring replacement employees at higher rates. They decided to hire only those legally authorized to work to avoid these disruptions. Apparently, immigration and customs enforcement has been increasing raids in these areas, affecting several manufacturing facilities. The founders of our company are from Europe and see this as paying people what they are worth, as they should have been compensated all along. They do not intend to leave because of this. It reduces our profit margins by a few percent since we will not raise prices to our end customers, as we must remain competitive on price, but it will not hurt us. Story 23. We are seeing fewer mass-produced items such as cups and lids. There are many others, but those are the main ones to me. I work at an airport location. Story 24. All the major technology conferences in town have declined, with the number of attendees decreasing. Who will you speak to in the future? Artificial intelligence agents? Story 25. In construction, we have switched suppliers to Canadian companies. Paint was a major category, as you typically see Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore, but Cloverdale Paints is Canadian and was previously unknown to us. Better prices than American brands are an added bonus. Some items are beyond our control, as architects inform us, but we try to find alternatives. Some municipalities have announced they will not work with U.S. contractors, which gives us a better playing field. Those are the two main changes I can think of at the moment. Additionally, one more major change is switching to Home Hardware or other local building supply stores instead of Home Depot or Rona. Story 26. It is not affecting my industry as a technician in the technology industry. However, it is starting to affect the price of food, which impacts everyone. Story 27. I work for now in information technology in an agriculture company. They are moving many more operations to South America. Tariffs and tariff uncertainty are harming budgets. They have not laid anyone off yet, but the writing is on the wall. No contractors are having their contracts renewed, which means I will be out of a job at the end of the quarter. Story 28. Row crop agriculture is facing severe challenges. Prices are at or below break-even on all row crops, and each time a tariff is announced, prices drop by an additional 45 cents. Expect a significant decline of rural life within 8 months, with many ghost towns emerging as service industries in these areas close down. Walmart stores may even start shutting down nationwide due to a lack of customers in small towns and rural areas. Story 29. My ranch worker is terrified of being deported. His town in Colombia has experienced serious violence. I will probably have to sell the operation if I cannot find anyone to replace him. Story 30. Tourism is noticeably down. I will not have the figures until the end of summer when I can make a comparison. However, there is no doubt that tourism is down. We are near Canada. Story 31. Construction is very challenging. The tariffs discussion has created significant uncertainty about pricing and procurement of materials and equipment. Immigration and customs enforcement deportations and the accompanying racism on job sites are at an all-time high. We are a reputable union electrical contractor and do not employ undocumented workers, but of course there are always some on the job sites here in South Texas. There is a lot of uncertainty and tension. The racists have been emboldened by our president to be as loud as they want instead of remaining hidden with their ideals where they belong. Fortunately, I am not aware of this directly affecting our work outlook, but it is uncertain how far the consequences will reach. Projects that we might have secured may never get off the ground, things like that. Story 32. In steel manufacturing, there is still a lot of quoting, but orders have dropped by about 30%. We have laid off about 20% of our workforce with the expectation to operate with reduced staff until at least the end of the year. Story 33. I am a British person in the United Kingdom looking in from outside. Disney's theme park division is becoming desperate and spamming us heavily in the United Kingdom with ridiculous deals for Disney World Orlando across websites, television, radio, newspapers, and billboards. The best offer from Disney that I have heard so far is to book for 2026 and get 14 nights accommodation for the price of 7, with all food and drink included for free, including in the parks. a $250 credit to your hotel account, and 20% off the cost of park tickets. On one hand, that is very cheap. On the other hand, that is a hard no from me because of the behavior I find unacceptable. I would rather go to Shanghai Disney Resort or Hong Kong Disneyland, and the price difference would not be much. Story 34. I work as a buyer. Costs on many items have already increased by 25 to 50%. Fortunately, some of our largest expenses have not been affected yet, but I am sure even domestic products will increase in price once the downstream impacts affect our economy. We are large enough to manage so far. I would hate to see the mood at smaller companies in the industry. Story 35. The hotel industry is struggling as foreign markets have dried up. It is now only domestic. Worsening economies are causing companies to reduce funding for corporate functions, resulting in our hotel banquet being quite inactive for the foreseeable future. Story 36. I went on a vacation to Yellowstone, Utah, and Arizona and did not see any decrease in tourism. Even Chinese tourists were still everywhere I went. This was during the last 2 weeks of June. Story 37. I work in Canadian tourism. It is booming. Americans are actually making a point of coming here. Some guests said they were worried about the reception they might receive, but have been pleasantly surprised by how welcome they feel. Canadians are happy to take your money and support and do not hold what your president is attempting to do to us against you as individuals. If you can manage to turn the tides with your politicians and the White House down the road, I and most others will happily return the favor. Story 38. I work in manufacturing. We are closing the plant at the end of the year. Higher material costs led to an increase in prices for the customer, and they chose not to renew the contract. Story 39. Not your question, but we normally take a week-long golf trip into the United States each summer. 8 guys are now going to Western Canada and will not return for 3 years. The same goes for winter trips. It is a big world. Story 40. I don't think we have really felt what's happening now. 1 year ago, we had a government practically throwing cash at anything related to domestic infrastructure. This year, that money supply is gone, the materials are more expensive with longer wait times, and the cheapest labor is gone. I've met travelers who are making 2-hour commutes every day just because there is no work for voice, data, and video in their home location. I've met travelers from Texas, Nebraska, California, and other states who are now in the Great Lakes region because there is not as much work there. Also, the head of the National Labor Relations Board was fired. Every union in America is under strained management. The American National Standards Institute was eliminated, so the standards for safety gear are in limbo. Asbestos is back in use. Many of my brothers and a few sisters will cheer the entire time until the work dries up and they start losing limbs. They can't think beyond food, trucks, and guns. That aspect of my industry has not changed and probably never will. Story 41. Price chaos. Our pricing team has had to update price files for our customer base at least 3 times due to tariffs. This work is extremely laborious. Beyond that, the market does not like uncertainty. Purchase orders have been held, and customer expansions are on hold. Contractors do not want to cut purchase orders if they think materials will be cheaper later. Story 42. Healthcare at a county hospital in Southern California is facing challenges. The patient no-show rate has increased from about 10% to 30 to 50%, and admissions have decreased significantly. There are multiple causes, but it does not help that Immigration and Customs Enforcement is detaining individuals who appear to be of certain ethnic backgrounds. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents have been observed near our hospital, and there are reports of them attempting entry into other hospitals in the area without warrants. Story 43. Not in those industries, but it directly affects those industries. I am a civil engineer in the federal government. The agency has been reduced by about 30%, and I am just waiting for the axe to fall on my program. My team went from 40 to 16, and we are still not sure if that is enough. Nobody in senior leadership will tell us anything. We just hear about more cuts at another agency and wonder if we are next. The public will feel it very soon. We are appropriated through this fiscal year, but next year's road construction season will be bad. Funding is frozen, and grants are at a standstill at a time when states and cities should be preparing for next year and the year after that. Story 44. Director at a large luxury convention hotel in a West Coast tourist destination. We are struggling with low occupancy rates and few conventions. Definitely feeling the impact. No visitors from Canada or Europe. Story 45. I have a retail store. Wholesale goods with tariff surcharges and increased prices are starting to arrive. This will make the items I carry too expensive to sell. I have no idea what the outcome will be. The changing tariffs and rates are difficult to navigate. I am afraid the fourth quarter will not be enough to cover the bills. Story 46. This thread demonstrates survivorship bias. People who do not see much of an effect would not respond or get noticed as much as people who are affected. Story 47. I work in coffee, and these tariffs have created a never-ending hot potato game of which origin we need to reformulate away from. In short, get ready for your cup of coffee to become more expensive. Story 48. I am not in any of these industries, but everywhere we go is very busy. When we eat out and travel, hotels seem just as full as always. Flights are constantly oversold. Could you please specify where you are seeing all this negative outlook? We are north of Atlanta. For the most part, things seem great here. I was in Bellevue, Washington last weekend and Greenville, South Carolina, a few weeks before that. Bellevue seemed a little slow, but I do not know how busy that town is, as I have never been there before. Greenville was very busy. I could not find a seat at a restaurant. Story 49. Driving on Interstate 95 is easier without the caravans from Canada, especially recreational vehicles. I do not believe a Canadian recreational vehicle family spends as much as a United States travel family does. So hospitality companies likely do not need a full replacement to make similar profits in 2024. Some areas in the United States benefit from easy Canadian visitors and will need to promote themselves to travelers from other states for tourism. Tourism marketing dollars just need to be redirected away from Canada. Story 50. I work at an airport about 30 minutes south of the Canadian border. Roughly half of our daily passengers are Canadians traveling from British Columbia to major United States hubs out of our small airport. I think that we are getting off a bit easy compared to some other airports, as many of the people who travel this way have immigrated to Canada from other countries and may not be as aware or involved in United States politics. However, passenger counts are falling slowly and steadily. That, paired with aircraft manufacturers' inability to produce aircraft, layoffs in the Federal Aviation Administration, and grant money being tied up frequently, means we are not looking too good. Story 51. I work for a large trailer tire supplier. Our purchasing team had to find and switch to new suppliers and canceled many large orders from China. Some of the new suppliers are from South America, some from Vietnam, and some from India. Other than that, it is business as usual. Story 52. Business is getting back to normal after a 4 to 5 year slowdown. Stock is up 60% since November, so my 401k is up as well. I have been working a little overtime lately, which is nice. Story 53. I'm in manufacturing and machining. Sales are up around 15% compared to last year. Our company is thriving. There has never been a more exciting time to be in manufacturing. We are living through a time where technology is changing and improving our ability to make things. As we embrace technology and automation, those gains in efficiency make us more competitive. That helps us win more jobs and hire more support staff. We will continue to thrive because we innovate faster than our competitors. We don't worry about politics. Tariffs have added a little extra cost, but new provisions in the significant legislation allow for immediate expensing of manufacturing property improvements. This is a huge deal that will enable us to expand our building next year and buy more equipment. Story 54. I would say it has more to do with inflation over the last 5 years. When everything such as gasoline, electricity, food, and dining out costs more, we tend to steer away from leisure activities. Story 55. The first sentence directs the question only to people who work in every industry listed, which is unlikely because it would be difficult to hold so many jobs at once. You probably meant or construction. Story 56. I am an electrician foreman in the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. We have more work than we can handle. Sadly, our workforce is declining, not due to governmental interference, but because of a lack of new people coming in. We are not getting many new electricians. A few who do come in tell us their classmates and friends in school went to college or other jobs that are less labor-intensive than construction. The surprising part is the work we do cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence, so you would think people would be flocking to the trades as a way to ensure long-term employment. As for the other issues we deal with, I am not seeing any problems. My personal budget for our living expenses, me 54 years old, my wife 66 years old, has not increased much at all in the last few years. We live simply, covering utilities, mortgage, groceries, vehicle, and property insurance. My union wage has increased as per our contract by about 2 to 3% per year for the last several years. It has never matched the actual cost of living increase each year, but our lifestyle has not changed. We are veterans and the union provides insurance. Our care is through the Department of Veterans Affairs, which bills the union insurance, so we have no medical bills. Our situation is such that I am retiring next week. Our investments over the years and my wife's Social Security will provide more than enough for us to live comfortably and allow for plenty of travel in the coming years. I will officially retire from the union at age 62, then start Social Security at 67 or 70. Both retirements will act like a cost of living increase to help offset any inflation between now and then. We are comfortable enough with our situation and everything around us that we are not worried about me retiring now. It seems like any other time in our lives. We have been working and relaxing at home, with vacations here and there. I have seen nothing to really indicate change for us in a long time, including during this recent president and his actions. Story 57. Construction is booming with data center builds. I have been in the trades for 21 years now, and this is the best we have ever had it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.